Welcome back to Revolution Parts. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the first 90 days of building a successful eBay parts business. And Ted, quite the panel we have with us today.
We do. We have some very, very seasoned veterans. Junior St. Romain from Parkway Family. He is the e-commerce parts manager there at the location. Welcome back, Junior.
Hey,
And
Ted.
of course, we've got Jensay Numa, our resident e-commerce specialist from Revolution Parts. Jensay, welcome back to the Fix Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me.
You gentlemen are very familiar with the eBay platform, and we want to talk to you about dealers watching building a successful first 90 days on the eBay platform. So, Junior, I'm going to come to you with the first question and then over to Jensay to get some feedback on it as well. Junior, what have you seen? What are some of the biggest mistakes a dealer might make in their first 90 days on eBay? And what actually determines whether they make money or stall out?
Hey, Ted. Thanks for having me. First off, some of the biggest things I would say: don't delay, start today. Me and Jensay went round and round on that one for about 6 months, and he was like, "Would you just start this already and just go make money?" I'm like, "Okay." Um,
Really?
but not having everything synced, I'm a big systems guy. So in the first 90 days, if you don't have your inventory in sync, you don't have your pricing right and your shipping, it's gonna be damaging to you. But most importantly, what a lot of people don't know, when you start eBay, you're on a time clock with shipping parts out. If you don't get them out within 24 to 48 hours of receiving that order, you're going to get dinged. And when you get dinged, they start you less visibility. It costs you more to sell. There's a lot of headache with it. You can ask Jensay. I went through that headache, and it was a very rough first 3 months. And then finally, we got our act together and started going north on sales and everything else.
Junior, I'm hearing some familiar themes on several podcasts recently, and I'm hearing take Gen Z's advice. Would you agree with that?
Very much so. It'll save you. It'll save you a lot in the long run. A lot of headaches. I mean, he's only been doing it for a couple of years, but I think he knows what he's talking about.
Gen Z, what do you say?
Well, it's interesting as I look at this question because one of the things I say regularly is I actually burned down, three eBay accounts. I have two very successful ones. So our goal is to not bring people down the same lanes that I went through when I first was getting into e-commerce on eBay specifically. But one of the biggest mistakes that I typically see is exactly what Junior talked about, right? In regards to inventory sync and et cetera. And one of the other things is basically making sure they understand standards on the platform, right? There's standards that you need to actually position yourself within, and it affects your sale ranking. And most accounts usually go below standard on eBay in their first 90 days just because they don't know how to actually address some of the metrics that eBay requires. And really, it's just proper seller behavior on their platform, like responding to disputes or not canceling orders just because you feel like canceling orders. And eBay doesn't like that because it actually affects how the seller's viewed on the platform.
Gen Z, how uncommon is it for what Junior went through about maybe, delaying that start, putting it off a little bit? How often do you see something like that?
I see it quite frequently. I feel like people are afraid of what they don't know, but the thing is, in the e-commerce space and also in the automotive space, like you have to try to succeed, right? So people don't want to fail, but one of the things you actually learn by failing. That's how I got as good as I have. But one of the things is that we try to teach people not to make the same mistakes that we've made, so we can get to where we need to.
And Junior, one more follow up from me before Sarah asks the next question. How soon after you got started did you know that you were headed down the right path with this eBay platform?
It was once we got over the first little hurdle. I mean, it was within 60 days. It was kind of like sales were really taking off, and we're kind of getting our act together. And it was like, okay, I'm in the right position now. I need to, there's nothing but up from here. So it was within 2 months of finally listening, getting my life together.
Well, Junior, I want to unpack a little bit more on the perception side because, there's lots of individuals when they're starting their first 90 days with eBay parts. And they're looking at listings and thinking about, well, wait a minute, I've got plenty of information, I've got plenty of parts listings, but it doesn't seem like I'm getting orders. So, did you ever feel like you had plenty of parts listings, but weren't actually seeing them materialize into an order, and what was actually happening?
Oh, for sure, Sarah. Whenever we first start, I look at a warehouse full of parts and then I look at my listings, there's 15,000 listings, and you're like, I'm only getting 5 orders a day. Like, what is happening? And then you listen to Jensay a little bit more. I did some more research of having things priced right. If you're not competitive against your competitors, you're going to sit there. Like somebody, people are obviously online shopping for a bargain. So that's a big one. And then on top of that, having your shipping settings correctly. There are some parts that were, if you try to make all of your money on shipping, you're you're going to lose because somebody else is offering it for half the price. Now you don't want to undercut yourself and lose money, but you want to be competitive in the market. And then having an accurate inventory update. There were things that were listed that shouldn't have been listed or have already sold and weren't removed from here or so on and so forth, or we had in stock and weren't listed. So aligning those systems of, especially on the pricing and the shipping side, got me ahead tenfold and started seeing sales increase. And then along with that, communicating with customers and getting our reviews up, growing your Amazon or your eBay reviews proves value to the customers out there that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, this store knows what they're doing, they're happy to take on and take a chance on us and purchase more from us once they get we get more frequent orders and reviews.
Jensay, this is really great advice that the Junior is sharing that you helped guide him with. And I'm curious too, as you're listening to some of his stories about, the listing side and having, lots of listings, but the orders aren't going through, and maybe it's shipping, maybe it's customer perception, maybe there's other factors. How do you help really navigate that first setup process so dealers get online in the best way possible?
Yeah. So I feel like one of the things, every brand on eBay, every dealer brand has a pricing average, right? And what's interesting, there's actually a tool on eBay that actually tells you on certain parts, right? Like what is this part
Hmm.
actually pricing for, right? And most people that are actually on the platform, they just kind of jump on, a dealer might jump on and say, I want to sell my parts at this amount. But it's just like how you're competing with your local market. You have to know what everybody around you is doing, right? So that way you can actually make sure you attract your customers. Well, it's the same mentality online. And because I've been doing this for a while and I have us at Revolution, we actually have the purview to kind of see what everybody's doing. We actually get a feeling of what the average is, right? And if somebody is not actually taking on pricing recommendations, they're pricing themselves out, which means they're not going to make the sales the way that they need to. And then you have some accounts that are very unique, like Junior's, right? Junior is very innovative, right, on what he wants to do, what he's willing to do, how he wants to move. So he can actually advance because he's not trying to be status quo, right, on eBay or on e-commerce in general.
Wow. Wow. Can I come back to a follow-up on something Junior mentioned? Junior, you mentioned those eBay reviews. How important is it to have those reviews? And how much does that weigh out there in the marketplace?
I think it makes a tremendous difference because it's just like anywhere. People are going to read the reviews of that store to find out if their customers are getting the right parts, if they're getting them in a timely manner, if the guys are even nice. Like that plays into a factor. It's really cool with my team. We'll watch the reviews go up on eBay, and I mean we're at 6,000 plus now, and we've been doing it about 18 months, I think, maybe 2 years, and it's just growing, and it's awesome to see. As it grows, our sales definitely grow up with it because you'll see it more reviews. People saying that they bought from us just because of the good reviews, and then the reviews were right. This store is awesome, and they're coming back consistently because we're offering such good customer service. I'm really hard on my guys about customer service. I
Yeah.
want everyone first star, first class, the best service possible because I want them to think about if they were getting the package. So the reviews come in crucial to our store, and I think they help out a lot towards sales.
Wait a minute. How many reviews did you say?
We're up to over 6,000, if I'm not mistaken, 6144 as of today.
6144 eBay reviews.
Yes, sir.
Another follow-up for Jensei. It seems like when we go to search these days on the web, search has changed. It's not the typical search we used to have. There's a lot of AI now,
Hmm.
ChatGPT and many others out there. And it seems when we ask a question, it seems that the AI, Jensay, is looking at things like reviews to help a
Hmm.
dealer like Junior get found. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. eBay itself has ranking for listings. So you can actually have 10 people selling the same part, even the listing looks exactly the same, but it's ranked higher, or it's actually considered sponsored, or it's higher whenever somebody's in the searchability because of things like what Junior's doing. Also, Junior's account status, right? So because he's doing what he's doing for reviews, his account status actually is not like everyone else's. Like I talked about earlier, there's standards on eBay. So we strive to make sure people are above standard to top rated. And when you're in that lane from some of the things that Junior's doing, and obviously just standard service, everything you do gets like 10x. You know what I mean? Because of how you're actually handling your past customers. I always tell people your past customers help you with your new customers. Right. So most people only think about their new customers, but if you handle your current customers bad, you won't get the new customers because all these things work together.
So true, Jensay. And as Junior, thinking about again, just in the beginning, getting started and talking about the listings and the consistency and some of those growing pains that you experienced. What's the key to going from a few sales here and there to consistent volume on eBay?
For one, treating customers like they're, all stars, doing everything you can to make their lives easier. Like a lot of the parts for higher end orders, anything over $100, we send out a VIN request so we can verify the part for the customer to make sure it fits their vehicle, so they don't have to deal with the return, and so we don't have to. One big thing that I kept dragging my feet on was pictures on my listings. All of the dealers, we all have the same generic pictures from the manufacturer, and it just makes life easier. When you get 20,000 listings, it's great what Revolution does of just uploading them for you, but they all have the same pictures. So as we went along, we started taking our own pictures and uploading them. Jensei had been telling me to do it for 6 months, and I finally started doing it, and sales actually did start increasing because people see, oh, that is an actual real part. It's not something from China or from somewhere else, and
Right.
so that definitely helped us increase. So between the doing the pictures and doing consistent sales of keeping inventory in stock. That's another big thing too, of keeping, our best sellers there and getting my parts manager to actually make consistent orders from the PDCs and have stock here. If you're always out of stock, customers are going to stop coming back to you because they're like, oh, they never have anything I want. Why would I even bother with them? I'll go on to the next one. And it hurts your ratings, so on and so forth, like Jensei was saying.
Jensei, it's all about trust, it sounds like. I mean, it's trust from the consumer side of the equation when they're looking to verify, okay, they have this part. I'm looking at the photos of it. That's real. All of that information checks out. I'm going to check the reviews on top of it. All these pieces factor into what Junior's describing with seamless transaction experiences.
Absolutely. And eBay, and it also falls into eBay's ranking on how they operate. One of the things about the photo category, as Junior was mentioning, eBay has this thing called Cassini. It's what its algorithm system is called. And basically, it looks for people that have three or more photos and unique photos, right? And this is not anything new because Google does the same thing. You know what I mean? So they just do it. eBay does it on their platform. And one of the things too about inventory that Junior was mentioning, if you actually have an item that you're stocking and you keep selling, eBay actually puts on that item sold 10, sold 20, sold 30,
Oh,
sold
wow.
50, and it makes people trust that listing more. So if you're always selling out, you never get to the point where that actually builds itself up the way that, people's listings look, because it actually creates more trust, more buyer confidence on the platform, and then it creates more consistent volume. And then the other thing I think is really big, and Junior talked about it, which is huge, very important, is having an inventory strategy, right? Like I actually, like most people, they sell stuff, but they don't pay attention to what they're selling. I actually started building an e-commerce warehouse of parts that I knew would sell because of frequency of purchase, and that helps create consistency of volume.
Fascinating. Junior, another follow up for you on the authenticity of having your own pictures. Um, I know some dealers have things like photo booths. Okay, they're taking for using for parts. Is that something that you do as well?
Nobody's got time for that around here. We're too busy selling parts. No, we do old school. We do iPhones. My crew has. I have one guy that does all my returns, customer service type stuff, and he's got an iPhone. So he'll go throughout the day. When they pull the part, he'll grab the part. We have a clean table in a cleaner, nicer area, but they're not world class photos. He can go
Okay.
out there, snap a photo real quick. He sends it to himself in an email and goes on. I like to keep it as simple as possible because it makes it go faster. So not I don't want to slow it down with a photo booth and that professional. We don't keep it that professional around here.
Sarah,
There,
it's parts has come into the new world as well, it sounds like.
It has, and Ted and Jensay, this is so exciting to hear what Junior is really accomplishing with all of the success and in his parts e-commerce business. I am curious, Junior, just as another follow up. One of the questions that dealers, have tried to factor in, Jensay, I'm sure you're seeing this pain point as well in this first 90 days. But eBay does have fees associated with the purchasing of goods. So Junior, how much do eBay fees factor into your overall profitability, and what's the best way to manage that?
Well, it definitely factors in, and it's something that I pay close attention to. But being on the top rated seller, you do get reduced fees. So the better customer service, eBay rewards you. And along with that, and Jensei can talk on this more, but Revolution also gives you a huge break with the eBay fees and helps you out there. So that's definitely a big plus. And it is something I factor in, and I look at the end notes of what my pricing strategy is, and I make sure that I include, it's we got to make some profit here. We make a lot of money by selling the volume, but you have to uh, factor that in and it still stay competitive. And I'm able to do that by constantly reviewing it, constantly having updates from my parts manager on what new pricing is from GM and so on and so forth. It's very competitive. And yes, it does. You do have your costs, but you're not going to make that money anywhere else. I'd rather make some money than no money.
That's
mhm.
true. And Gen Z obsolescence is an important conversation that we continue to see and have across the industry. And it sounds like, the strategy, with this is really paying dividends. What are you seeing, regarding the eBay fees, and how do you advise dealerships to manage their overall profitability and have this success?
Well, when I was in a dealership world as an e-commerce parts director, I actually the reason I got on Revolution, first off, before all the other features, all the other things that I needed Revolution for, was because Revolution has this thing called a rate card. And the rate card to me was golden, right? And the reason why is because part of growing on eBay is having high listings, a high number of listings. If you operate on eBay without something that's going to buffer the fees for listings, it could be very expensive to operate on eBay. For example, a listing could be 30 cents, or depending on what's in the listing, if you put subtitles, could be $2, right? Added to the listing. If you got 20,000 listings, $2 a piece, well, that's $40,000 that you actually are about to dish out, right, to eBay. And we've had people leave Revolution thinking they don't need us and they don't need a rate card, and they get a nice, healthy bill from eBay for $40,000, $20,000, and et cetera. And then they want to get back on Revolution. So one of the things is that it waives the listing fees that eBay charges. Also, to actually look professional on eBay, you have to have what's called an anchor store, which an anchor store by itself is $350 a month if you don't have a rate card. Our rate card waives that so that they don't actually have to pay for the listing fees. They don't have to pay for the anchor store. All these things are critical when you're going to have a successful e-commerce page on eBay, and Revolution covers all of those things for these accounts to be able to operate properly. Otherwise, you're going to operate at low listings, and you're going to not be able to actually optimize your listings the way you can, and you don't even have a storefront, so you don't even look professional on the platform. So,
Junior, is all this true that Jen said the sensei is sharing with us?
Oh, very true. That's why I had done eBay a long time ago on my own for my own personal e-commerce business. And whenever I first started here at Parkway, he I got with Jensay. He's like, start it, start it. I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with all the fees. And I kept ignoring him. And then finally I listened. It's a trait in my life. I don't like to listen the first time. And he's like, no, you're going to be reduced fees. It's reduced this. And gave me the whole spiel and gave me all the numbers. I'm a very numbers guy. Like, I need to save pennies everywhere I can so I can prove it elsewhere. But yeah, it's 100% true. It's definitely a great benefit with being with Revolution, and they can also help with the support. I don't know if you ever listed anything anywhere, but listing one thing takes 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. So trying to list 20,000 parts on eBay by yourself manually, one by one, is very time consuming. With Revolution, it's a few clicks of a button and you're done, and it starts it all for you, and then you can do mass updates and everything else. It's definitely well worth the investment into Revolution for the eBay store alone.
Junior, how much have you seen this e-commerce business grow in the last 12 months? Because I know you are one of the people that we look up to for e-commerce, especially on eBay.
You talking about just my store or the world in general for
Let's talk
e-commerce?
about your store, and then we'll talk about the world in general.
Just our store alone in the last 12 months, we've at least increased sales by 25%, if not more. Just on eBay, we went from doing 30 to 50K a month to well over six figures a month now. And it's just systems and processes and learning more and better reviews, mentorship from Jensay the sensei over here. And it's ever growing. He knows I have a special number in mind for where I want to reach, and I'm chasing it, and it's getting closer and closer to that goal.
And it seems the world is watching, Junior, because this has to be one of the dominant things happening right now in fixed operations. The awakening that I need to sell my parts online and the way I've done in other parts of my business and do that in parts.
I've definitely seen more smaller stores popping up on, you get more competition and you're like, wait a minute, who's this guy? I've never seen this name before. And so it's definitely popping up, and it's great for the business, because if I don't have something, I want the customer to still be able to get it from somewhere else. And so it keeps the train flowing.
Jens, is this growing the way that we feel and the way that we see over here on this side?
Absolutely. I feel like there's more of an understanding because of the days of the DoorDashes and the Ubers and the Uber Eats and AI, and everyone's realizing, how come I have a parts department that's the most profitable part of my dealership and I'm not online? Doesn't make any sense, So I think people are waking up and realizing that this is the path to take. But one of the things is the industry does need to keep on shifting its mindset and realize, like, if you don't make a change, then you're going to end up like Blockbuster. Um, so, mhm.
Solid advice, Jensay. And, our audience that's listening today, thinking about their first 90 days of building a successful eBay parts business, what is the best first step for them to get started and learn more about Revolution Parts? And what advice would you have for that initial setup process?
Uh, Honestly, I would say to actually contact the Revolution Parts marketing team, right? So that way they can actually help you actually create an account through Revolution, and they will walk through the steps that you need to create your eBay account. Somebody can go on and just create an eBay account by themselves, as Junior mentioned, but to be honest with you, what you actually need to scale this to make it worth it, you actually need a proper partner or a proper system to help you grow on eBay. And that's where Revolution comes in. Identifies your inventory, helps you price everything. And here's another crazy thing: pricing updates that change every single month, depending on what brand you are. And to do it manually, you got to go in there and change it manually every single month, too. And that just is too tedious. So, working with Revolution, reaching out to our marketing team will help somebody get started right away.
Junior, do you concur with that? Revolution is the partner to make this happen?
100%. Yeah, it's everything Jensay said and then some. The pricing update alone is well worth it, just because I know GM, they update every month I don't have to do a thing. It's automatically done. That leaves me time to sell more parts.
All right, there we have it, Sarah. Junior St. Romain from Parkway Family, thank you so much. And
Thanks, Ted.
Jensay Numa from Revolution Parts, thank you for both for what you're doing to advance the industry and an exciting new frontier. And congratulations to you. I look forward to having you both back and Junior finding out what's happening even just a few months from now. I know it's going to be great. So,
yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
all right.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Junior St. Moraine and Jensay Numa here with us at Revolution Parts.